What's going on, guys? BouseFeenux here, and I am extremely stoked to finally release this video. So unless you've been living under a rock, you know that Season 3 is upon us very soon, and with it, we're getting two brand new characters, the Highlander and the Gladiator. In today's video, we'll be going over the Highlander primarily. I wanted to have some gameplay from the test I was invited to participate in to show you guys, and I also wanted to show you some of his cosmetics and legendary gear. They gave us rank 7 heroes and 200,000 steals, so I pretty much just sat around and rolled loot boxes for like an hour to try and get all the starred weapons for both heroes, and while I don't think I got them all, I can at least give you guys a glimpse of what you can expect when you hit Reputation 7. And I mean, come on, there's gotta be some surprises, right? But anyway, let's talk about Highlander. As stated before, he's got the two different stances, the offensive and the defensive stance. In defensive stance, you can block, parry, guard break, and counter guard break, just like you could with any other character. And also in defensive stance, your heavy attacks have hyper armor on startup, just like with Warlord or Shigoki. Now, I know that sounds cancer, but if you didn't have hyper armor, it'd be extremely hard to land these heavies because they are incredibly slow. We're talking Shigoki speed here. An offensive stance, which you can get to after any attack, parry, or from neutral by holding the heavy attack button, you have no defensive options. You can dodge, but you can't block, parry, guard break, or counter guard break, but all of your attacks are unblockable and you gain access to a few disabling moves. You have a kick that guarantees you an offensive heavy, and the caber toss, which is an unblockable grab that throws the enemy down for a guaranteed top heavy. The unblockable attacks can be canceled into a kick, and the kick can be canceled into the caber toss for a triple feint, essentially. Now, some other nifty things about this character. In defensive mode, you have a forward dash heavy that can be canceled into a side dash heavy in either direction at the last moment by tapping a direction and hitting the heavy attack button. The attack also has hyper armor, so it's amazing for trading, and from this, you can go straight into offensive mode, and from there, any of your unblockable mix-ups. It sounds complicated, but once you get the hang of it, the flow is really smooth, and it feels awesome to pull off. Highlander feels like an extremely unique character because a lot of the stuff in his kit, and there really isn't anyone on the roster right now that feels or plays like him. It is super refreshing. Also, another trick in his big plaid bag of Scottish tools is the crushing counter similar to Warden. The only difference with Highlander is you can do this from any guard stance direction, not just the top. All you need to do is light attack in the direction of an incoming attack, and you're good to go. If you land one of these crushing counters, you can go straight into your offense form. So obviously, all this being said, there's a lot to play around with when it comes to this guy. I think of the two characters, he's definitely got a higher skill cap, and he's gonna be a little trickier to learn, but once you get him down, it is super satisfying. As of now, at the time of this video, I had about 10 hours of playtime with the Highlander, and I was still learning stuff, so he's definitely someone you can sink your teeth into. Moving on though, let's talk about strengths and weaknesses real quick. In the strengths column, we've got hyper armor on heavies, crushing counter from all directions, which is going to be really strong once the defense meta changes come through, offensive form with fairly strong mix-up game, and extremely long range. For weaknesses, though, the first is that this character is insanely slow. His fastest attack is his offensive light at 400 milliseconds, and that's even kind of a little unwieldy to use, but I'm going to count it anyway. His top light from neutral is his next fastest attack at 600 milliseconds for a light attack. To give you a frame of reference, Centurion heavies are faster than that by a mile. Highlander's slowest attacks, however, are his defensive form heavies at a whopping 1,000 milliseconds. You can get up and go to the bathroom, come back, and still have time to parry one of these. You'd pretty much only want to use them for trading attacks because thankfully they've got hyper armor on them. His second weakness, believe it or not though, is his damage output. For how slow he is, you'd think he'd be a little stronger in the DPS department. For example, Highlander's most powerful move, the defensive heavy attack, only clocks in at about 40 damage. A top heavy from a raider does 45 damage, a chained berserker top heavy does a whopping 55 damage, and even Kensei beats this at 45 damage for a side uninterruptible heavy. Apparently this giant sword is made out of cardboard or something. So from what I noticed in the tests we conducted with these characters though, the Highlander pretty much crumbles against the more aggressive members of the cast. Being that it's hard to initiate anything from neutral when you're getting wailed on, and the fact that Highlander has very long recovery times, it can be tough to back off and regain your distance. Aside from all this though, I feel like Highlander is an extremely solid character and one that is very satisfying to play. With a few tweaks here and there, I feel like he could definitely be top tier, and I'm really interested to see how he performs when he's released. But that is about it for my current observations on this character. I'll be doing a similar video for Gladiator here soon, and unscripted live guides for both characters here in the very near future, so stay tuned for those. I'll also make sure to update you guys with anything else that we find as we continue to test these guys out. But as a reward for your patience in making it to the end of this video, here's a little gear and cosmetics showcase, as well as the Highlander executions and emotes. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, and get subscribed for more Season 3 For Honor content. Enjoy!